massive in state history. Thousands of homes destroyed, schools, classrooms, libraries, museums, places of worship, all lost, and livelihoods ruined. With so much devastation, students, families, businesses, and communities are now left struggling to recover. And that road to recovery will be a very long and a very difficult one. But there is hope. The SoCal Fire Fund provides immediate, free, and long-term support for countless community-centered recovery programs. You can be a part of providing those most impacted with the resources they need to move forward. So please, visit SoCalFireFund.org to learn more about how you can join in this tremendous effort.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's Beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace, the host of Truth to Power. I'm excited. It's Friday. I walked in the building today and somebody said, "How you doing today, Kyle?" I said, "I'm doing good. It's Friday." And they said, "Oh, you got Friday energy." Why would I not have Friday energy? It's a beautiful day, or going to be a beautiful day at some point. Maybe cloudy, a little windy, but they said it's going to touch 70, so I said I'm definitely going to enjoy. Make sure y'all tap in and listen here as we are live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the 3rd Street Market Hall in the Avenue. You can tap in by texting or calling in at 833-212-1017. In addition to that, you can watch and stream us live on YouTube by going to 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and also hit that thumbs up like button as well. And as I told y'all yesterday here on Truth to Power, I had some stuff coming up for you today, and I told you I was going to be joined by the Milwaukee Brewers, and I am so excited right now to be joined by Rick Schlesinger, the President of Business Operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Rick has been a mainstay with the Milwaukee Brewers for so long and in the community, enhancing our experience and watching this baseball team we love continue to grow and impact the community. How you doing today, Rick?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
No, absolutely. Thanks for taking time. I know it's a very, very busy schedule that you have, but I absolutely wanted to have you jump on and talk about everything going on. And with opening day for the Brewers, they had their first game yesterday against the Yankees. We'll bounce back, but they have their home opener Monday, March 31st. That's coming up here in a couple days. What should fans expect as we celebrate opening day? You can hear that game on not only ESPN Milwaukee, not only 620 WTMJ, but also right here on 101.7 The Truth for our Travelcast. What should fans expect on Monday when they go out to the ballpark to support our Milwaukee Brewers?
Well, the good news is we have a roof and it'll be closed because I think the weather report is talking about some snow in the morning. So it's nice to have a climate-controlled environment. It'll be very comfortable, 67 degrees inside, full house. Obviously, this is the first season without Bob Uecker, so we're going to do a number of tributes to Bob on opening day, including a moment of silence, special video. We're going to have his signature cut out in the outfield grass. We have some special Bob Uecker retail items, a portion of the proceeds going to Bob's favorite charities. We're going to have members of the important charities, Wounded Warriors and ALS, Bob's favorite charities. They're going to throw up first pitches. And again, it's weird to think we're not going to have Bob, but we're going to try to honor his legacy as best we can. Later next week or the week after, we're going to announce a celebration of life event where all the fans can come before a game, and we'll have a tremendous celebration. But opening day is a special day in Milwaukee, and it's going to be exciting. I'm in New York right now watching us play, but it's going to be very exciting to see all the fans and get some home cooking on Monday against the Royals.
I love it. Get some home cooking. You talked about Bob Uecker, the legendary broadcaster for Milwaukee Brewers, Mr. Baseball himself, and celebrating the legacy. And just getting your personal, thoughts, because I understand that Bob played a major impact in your role as you've been with the Milwaukee Brewers for a very long time. Can you just talk about the impact that Bob had, talking about just off the field being encouraging and positive to the team, but also just people around him?
Yeah, Bob was one of those guys who he was a celebrity. He was a national figure, but he never lost sight of his roots. He's a Milwaukee guy, and he really cared about people. A lot of times, people who have a great public image, they may be different in private. Bob, I will tell you, was exactly the same, both publicly and privately. He cared about people. He was humble. He was self-deprecating. He was a good listener. He was a great storyteller, but he also was a great listener. Bob has a reputation for some of the best stories in baseball, but the man listened. And if you had a question or an issue, he was there for you. He had incredible empathy, just a tremendous, decent human being who, despite all the accolades, all the honors, all the celebrities who wanted to be his friend, he cared about the average Joe, and he was an average Joe. And it's just going to be hard to think he's not around because he was such a part of the fabric of this ball club and the whole state. And, he really is the iconic voice and personality of this team. And, we're not going to be able to fully honor him as well as he should be because you can't honor a legend like that, but we're going to do our best. And I miss him a lot.
No, absolutely. And one thing I talked about when he did pass away is the fact that he was part of so many people's childhoods and the voice of the summer and baseball. And I just remember as a kid, Rick, sitting at my grandparents' house with my grandpa having the TV on, I believe it was Channel 24 at the time or Channel 18 on regular TV. He was watching the Brewer game but had the volume down and had the radio sitting in his chair with Bob Uecker's voice. And I just remember that as a kid, so that was a great memory. And I even had the opportunity when I did some engineering here at Good Karma Brands where Bob Uecker, he says everybody that contributed to the broadcast, and he actually said my name, and I was like, man, that's crazy how that's full circle. So he's impacted so many people's lives, and thanks for sharing your thoughts about Bob Uecker as we're joined by Rick Schlesinger, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, Rick, fans will find at American Family Field, they will find a lot of new features this year, and American Family Field was named one of the top 10 stadiums in baseball. Can you talk about some of the new features people should expect with the experience at American Family Field this year?
Absolutely. First of all, at two of our gates, we have go-ahead entry, which is a new facial authentication system that Major League Baseball has put together. And for those fans who want to opt into this technology, they basically take a selfie and send it to the ballpark app. The ballpark app is where everybody's tickets get located, so most fans are very familiar with it. And what happens is then you can go into those gates, and the system will recognize you and pair you with the tickets. So you don't have to show your phone. You don't have to show your tickets. It's faster ingress into the ballpark. It's seamless. It's easy. And it's worked in several other ballparks in the last year or two and had great success. So that's kind of fun for fans who want to opt in, who want to get in the ballpark faster. Once you're in the ballpark, I'm encouraging people to go to the loge level, the second level, and go to left field where you have the food truck alley. Sort of a good companion to the 3rd Street Market Hall where your radio site is located.
Yes.
And it's a great opportunity to have the best of food trucks in Milwaukee. So we're going to have gelato, tacos, and steak sandwiches, and Italian food. Again, if you want your broths and your beer, you get that too. But if you want some cool cuisine that's authentic, that's local, go to the food truck alley.
I absolutely love that local food in a food truck alley. That is something that I really, really do enjoy. And also, Rick, I want to ask you, I got a couple more questions here for you. There's a new way to watch games this year. I know there's going to be some local programming and network TV for Milwaukee Brewers games this year, but can you talk to fans about FanDuel Sports Network and also the partnership you have with some of the local news stations here where people can actually enjoy and watch Brewers baseball?
Absolutely. So we have partnered with FanDuel, which is formerly Bally Sports. So the best thing about that is the continuity. So all of our fans last year who watched the Brewers on cable and satellite will have the same experience this year, the same high-quality, high-tech entertainment on their same cable and satellite channels. So that's good for the fans because, we want to make sure it's easy for fans to find the Brewers and watch live games. So we'll have 147 live Brewers games. And also the rest of the games will be on regional and national platforms. So all 162 broadcasts will be available. We also partnered with Fox 6 in the Milwaukee area to broadcast 10 games on over-the-air, so it's free television. If some fans don't have cable, don't want to buy the streaming service, or otherwise don't have access to satellite or cable, they can watch every Tuesday. They can watch Brewers games on Fox 6 in the local market, which is kind of fun for us because you referenced Channel 18 in the old days. It's sort of like going a little bit old school.
Yes,
where you get the Brewers on free over-the-air stations. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, it absolutely is, Rick. We are speaking with Rick Schlesinger, the president of business operations with the Milwaukee Brewers, Rick. And I got to know, so I got a goodie bag today from the Milwaukee Brewers, and it's like Santa Claus coming by, and I got to know, who is the mastermind behind all the great theme nights and giveaways that you all have? You have 17 new items for giveaways and T-shirts this year. You have 9 theme nights as well. And so I just want to know, I got it right here on our stream. You can go to our stream at 1017 The Truth. This is mine. The one y'all see right here, this is mine. But can you tell me about just some of the great giveaways you all have this year for our fans to enjoy as well?
Yeah, so we owe it to our marketing and our promotions people and our sponsor people for coming up with some great ideas. And yeah, we have a full slate of giveaways. We've got theme nights where you can, if you're a fan of Harry Potter, if you're a fan of Lucy and Snoopy and all those characters, you can get special items related to those themes. We also have bobbleheads, Pat Murphy, Christian Yelich. We've got a cribbage board giveaway. We've got a lot of apparel that we're giving away. So, for example, this Saturday, when we play the Reds, we're going to have a long sleeve hoodie giveaway. So, yeah, a lot of fun items, and the variety is good things because some people will like one thing and not the other, but we're going to find something good for everybody.
Thank you so much, Rick. And lastly, can you just tell fans where they can go to get tickets? I know the home opener coming up on Monday. There's limited tickets still available, but can you just tell fans where they can go to always go and support and buy tickets to our home local team, the Milwaukee Brewers?
Thanks. The easiest, simplest way is brewers.com. Go on, and there's a few clicks to get tickets, and it's very seamless. There's interactive maps to show you exactly where your seats would be located. You push a few buttons, and you can buy the tickets. We also obviously have the box office open during the week. People can go in the old school way and wait in line and go to the box office. We also can do by phone, 414-902-4000. So a lot of good ways to get tickets.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us here today. That is Rick Schlesinger, the president of business operations for the Milwaukee Brewers. Go Brewers, and make sure you go and support them. But thanks for joining us here today, and let's get some victories out of New York.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, thanks to Rick Schlesinger for joining us here today. I appreciate it. And the one thing I love is I love because they send us a goodie bag with an opportunity to, for fans to get excited about it. And I know, the history of black people in baseball is something we love, but going to a baseball game and tailgating is something that cannot be replicated. I'm telling y'all, when you drive past on the freeway past AmFam Field and you just smell them hot dogs. Look at Ben jealous. Ben mad. Ben said, I got all the good. I got all the good.
Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead, Ben. You know what to do.
What can I say? Wait a minute now. What's good? I mean,
you get this too.
I mean, we sharing everything. I'm telling y'all, Ben that came in the studio.
What size is that?
My size.
That's crazy, Truth Nation. Kyle out here, he got all the goodies. He got the goodie bag. And is that
tote bag and everything?
Tote bag designed specifically for you?
I mean, what can I say?
It looks recyclable.
Yeah, what can I say? The Milwaukee Brewers hooked me up, but also y'all can be hooked up too. If y'all want to get one of these great pullovers I'm telling y'all this right now. This pullover right here, I got one of these years ago, and I love it.
So you don't need that one?
Yes, I do. This is a different material. This material better. This is the light material, right? The breathe easy material.
That is the breathe easy material, especially if you're a musty individual.
I can get musty sometimes. I work hard around this mug, and so don't you do that.
We know. We know.
I don't get no musty. But
with them dreads, I know your head get hot.
The summer months be a little bit hot. It be a little bit. I was looking at the weather today, like, dang, it's gonna be hot today. But I'm telling y'all this right now, it's so fun being able to go out and hang out with the Milwaukee Brewers and go into a game, getting some people together. So definitely support the Milwaukee Brewers because they support us. So definitely go and visit brewers.com/tickets if you want to get tickets to go to opening day or any Brewers game or see any of the great items that they'll be giving away at Milwaukee Brewers games. And one thing I love, they always have Negro League night as well to celebrate the legacy of black players. But again, 833-212-1017, that's the Truth Talk to text line. When we come back on the other side, we're going to get into some meat and potatoes of the day. I'm going to encourage you to vote, but also we're going to talk about some vocational training that could be coming to the Wisconsin prison system. So keep it locked. You're listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. We'll have more conversation on the other side.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Milwaukee Brewers baseball is back.
It is gone!
And you can hear our beloved Brewers home opener right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Second homer of the night from Jackson Churio.
On Monday, March 31st, hear the Brewers take on the Kansas City Royals with coverage beginning at 12:35 p.m., leading up to first pitch at 1:10 p.m. So don't miss the Brewers home opener Monday, March 31st, right here on 1017 The Truth.
Milwaukee Black Talk.
And Joe Biden wasn't very controversial. He wasn't. Now, he might have done some things in his long, storied past, but if you all have been in the same line of work for 46 years, you probably have done some questionable things too. Joe Biden was a safe choice. He was a level of common sense. He was a level of stability. He was a familiar political commodity. Democrats don't have that right now. Democrats are caught with their pants completely down.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cass Bowers, Executive Director of All in Wisconsin. Did you know that there's an election coming up on April 1st? I encourage you to get out and vote. For democracy to work for all of us, it must include all of us. Vote to protect our rights and freedoms. I also urge you to vote no on the voter ID amendment on the ballot. Safe elections mean that no one is left out of the process, and we don't need more barriers to voting. Make your voices heard. Visit allinwi.org for more information.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. There's a sense of pride, community, and work ethic that's second to none. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. We've been here and will continue to be here for as long as you need us. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
On April 1st, we have a choice to make. Donald Trump wants us to elect Brad Schimmel to the Supreme Court. Elon Musk's even spending millions to elect him because they know Schimmel will do whatever they want, even if that means letting them cut health care and food for hungry kids or eliminate the Department of Education. That's why we need to vote for Judge Susan Crawford.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars where they belong. And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will. And that's why I'm asking for your vote.
That's Judge Susan Crawford, protecting our rights, our families, and our community. So on April 1st, help keep Trump and Musk in check. Go to the polls and vote for Judge Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Make the right choice. Vote Susan Crawford on April 1st. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Office's Analysis Live is back and takes place this Saturday, March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Antetokounmpo for a live show that will entertain for sure. He'll be joined by Brandon Jennings. He'll be joined by Brooke Lopez. He'll be joined by Kyle Kuzma as well. And there are some more special guests. I heard the rumblings upstairs. I can't tell y'all, but I can't tell, but there's going to be some more cool special guests. So you definitely want to be there. So make sure you visit taliveshow.com to get tickets to this event. They're $43. taliveshow.com to get your tickets to the Analysis Live. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be dope. They got free food, free drinks. I can't wait to go tomorrow. I'm so excited to be there tomorrow. So make sure y'all show up and show out to support the Thanasis Antetokounmpo and watch the Analysis Live event tomorrow. 833-212-1017. That's the Truth Talk to text line. Wayne on the Truth Talk to text line said, Benjamin, Kyle not musty. He just wears the fragrance called Cool Onion. That's a damn lie. That's a damn lie. I don't know why are we making up rumors? Why are we making up fake rumors? If I was musty, I would hope y'all would tell me. Like, dang, you gonna have me walking around business meetings? Man, oh yeah, that's true. That's very true. Very, very true. He whispered something in my ear, and that deserves a ding. Y'all can't hear it, but for sure is a ding conversation. But again, thanks again to Rick Schlesinger of the Milwaukee Brewers for joining us here today on 1017 The Truth. And I just want to take the time before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the show. I just want to take the time again to encourage people to get out and vote, right? Election day is next week, and I'm going to use this platform to make sure we encourage people to get out and vote. Early voting goes until tomorrow, Saturday, March 29th. In Milwaukee, it ends at 4:30. So make sure if you want to get out and vote, right, you don't want to have to wait in lines on Tuesday, because right now, this is going to be a big election. They expect 2 million people to vote. It's going to surpass the last election. Already have 500,000 early votes that have already been cast. So you want to make sure and get out and vote. And I told y'all, black people in this election actually have an opportunity. We turn out, right? Even if we turn out at presidential levels, the way we voted in presidential elections, which still needs to be better, but if we turn out significantly in the black community, we can shift who is in charge in the state of Wisconsin. This is our opportunity, right? In presidential elections, we can definitely play a role. But if you voted last November, get out and vote now, because I'm telling y'all this right now. We want to have a say. If we start voting in these spring elections at a high rate, then they recognize that, oh, snap, we got to talk to the black community, because I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to be 100% real with you. Y'all just heard a Susan Crawford commercial here, who's running for state Supreme Court. Y'all heard a Brittany Kinzer commercial, where I believe it was Howard Fuller, promoting Brittany Kinzer. And I already talked about, she's supported by, getting money from Republicans, but she's spending money on the station. You heard Jill Underly, supported by Democrats. She putting money here, but Brad Schimmel ain't putting no money here on this station. And so I'm telling y'all this right now. If we want people to start caring about us, we got to start utilizing our vote, especially in these type of elections. If you mad at Lamont Westmoreland for calling out the dirty streets, Lamont ain't got to be worried about nothing, because in his election, he probably only got 5,000 votes to win in a district that got 30,000 plus people. Voting population might be more than that, and so we got to start utilizing our voice through our voting, right? It's cool to go up to the school board meetings. It's cool to go protest for a second, right? But until we actually utilize the one thing that we have that they have to earn, our vote, then we are powerless. So I just want to encourage people to make sure that y'all get out and vote. Early voting again ends tomorrow, and then Election Day will be on Tuesday, April 1st. Make sure y'all get out and vote on Tuesday, April 1st. You can register in person. So if you have not voted, you're not registered, you can register in person on Tuesday, April 1st to get out and vote. Now, there was a story that I saw, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but then I saw it continue to blow up because I really don't understand why people seem confused. I really don't get it, right? And again, I'm going to get off this election stuff in a couple minutes, but I just don't understand why some people are so confused about what they're seeing in the news. So there was something that came out, and there was a tweet by Elon Musk. Talk about musty. Elon Musk said, on Sunday night, I will give a talk in Wisconsin. Interest is limited to those who have voted in the Supreme Court election. I will also personally hand over 2 checks for $1 million in appreciation for you taking the time to vote. This is super important. People are up in arms and shocked and mad about this, and I'm trying to understand why. This ain't the first time he done something like this. I don't understand why we surprised. Like, this is what the strategy is. The strategy is to say, listen, to entice people to vote, I'm going to give you money. But people are all up in arms about this. Do I disagree? I think it's bad for people to have to get paid to vote. But the fact that somebody even got to offer money for people to actually vote is the biggest issue. And I'm going to tell y'all this. I tried to tell y'all about Elon Musk. I really did. I told y'all he was not to be trusted. I said this a long time ago because I remember as soon as I started this show, I talked about Elon. I told y'all, and I think I even said it when I joined on the politics show that we had here. What was that show called, Zach? Some
Truth Beyond Truth to Politics.
Truth some politics. I don't know. I came up with the name. I don't even know what it was called. You know what it was called, T-Lo? Truth to Politics.
It was Truth to Politics.
It wasn't Truth to Politics.
On Politics.
The Truth on Politics. Yeah, the Truth on Politics. Yeah, the Truth on Politics. What it was called. And I remember I had a chance to be on there, and I said, listen, y'all better listen to what this man said. He said it's going to be some pain that we're going to have to suffer through. He said we're going to need to go through a moment of pain, and this is what people going through. So I don't know why y'all surprised. He didn't hide it. He told y'all what was going to happen. He didn't tell you directly, but he told y'all it's going to be a moment of pain. And so here's what's crazy to me. If I told y'all, right, if we went back, if you had told Americans 100 years ago, think about it. We talking about it's 2025, so 1925. If we would have told Americans 100 years ago that a South African would be the right-hand man of our United States president, and he was donating maximum monthly donations to politicians, $6,600 a month, bankrolling our U.S. elections, and trying to pay millions of dollars to bribe U.S. citizens to vote the way that he wants them to. They would laugh in 1925 if I said a South African was doing all this. They would laugh and said if he tried to do that, we would lynch that nigga today. I'm telling y'all, on site, I'm telling y'all, they would be surprised. I'm telling y'all. And I say that because he's a South African. He's not from here. He's a white South African. They would have been very, very surprised. But boy, I tell you, America has changed so much. So I saw this trending all in the news today, and I said, well, I guess I'll touch on it a little bit just so people understand that, hey, like, it is what it is. This is the new reality. There's no laws against this. And if you had the money and you had the ability to try to influence elections to be able to make more money, would you do it? 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk to Text line. Make sure y'all watch and stream us live on YouTube. That's 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button as well. But 833-212-1017. Al, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Well, my thoughts on this conversation is that these people who back him is not American, because real Americans don't let nobody outside America dictate their household and watch the American people suffer. I call those traitors, but they never talk about the people who look like them, who's caused havoc, like them terrorists with the Make America Great racism up on that wall, because they're not American. They are un-American racists, and they're another form of niggas. Have a great day.
Oh, I use the N-word. Now you want to use it? Dang, Al.
I told Ben, I'm like, he summoned him.
Mine was for the fact that I was talking about in 1925. We didn't get called black people. They sure didn't say African-American gentlemen over there. Mine was for, historical context. Al, you just wanted to drop it out there. Dang. What was it? Aaron with the hard R decided he done got y'all all riled up. Damn. 833-212-1017. So again, I want people to make sure that y'all get out there and vote, and make sure y'all stay updated to everything going on around here as well, and continue to educate yourself on everything that's happening in the election. And if you didn't get a chance to, make sure you listen back to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace yesterday, because I feel like I laid out a pretty good case for why Brad Schimmel is unfit to be in office. Again, so go ahead and listen back to that. But 833-212-1017. On the other side, I'm going to tell you about this article that I saw, and I thought it was positive. I thought it was really good because for someone, and listen, I was blessed and fortunate, haven't been in the prison system, but, knowing some people who have been in the prison system, I understand how detrimental that can be for progress in life and how limited that can be for progress in life, and understand that people make mistakes. Tony Evers recently made a comment about what he wants to turn the prison system in Wisconsin into, and it's something that I can actually get behind. So keep it locked. On the other side, we're going to talk about, can we actually get prison reform? Are we focused on getting prison reform? And the great idea I feel like Tony Evers has, again, 833-212. That's the Truth Talk 1017. That's the Truth Talk to text line. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace. We'll have more conversation on the other side.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Elon Musk and Donald Trump are out of control, slashing healthcare and food for hungry kids, eliminating the Department of Education. Now, Musk and Trump are trying to buy a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, spending millions to elect extremist Brad Schimmel. And if elected, Schimmel wants to criminalize abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. Brad Schimmel, an extreme rubber stamp for Musk and Trump, and wrong for Wisconsin. We need justices who are fair, who know right from wrong. Judge Susan Crawford has spent her life standing up for Wisconsin and keeping us safe. She'll always protect our right to choose, and Crawford will be the check and balance we need against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. On April 1st, vote Susan Crawford for Supreme Court. Go to www.iwillvote.com to find out where and how to cast your vote by April 1st. Paid for by Power to the Polls Action Fund, not authorized by any candidate or candidate's agent or committee.
This is your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
So Black women's leadership needs to be prioritized. That means a whole lot of things, but it includes a message for white women, which would be, it'll be wise for you to take our lead. We've already demonstrated everything there is to the world about who we are. We shouldn't have to keep doing that over and over again. The reality is that there are times when we got to muster up the energy to do some things we don't want to do. But I don't want that to be commonplace for me, and I certainly don't want it to be commonplace for other Black women. There's often this message that we need to stay strong because there are people depending on it. No, we need ourselves.
Yeah, you can't, what do they say? You can't pour from an empty cup?
Yes. And I even am hearing people say a lot more, you shouldn't pour from your cup at all until it overflows. And it's the overflow that you give. You keep the full cup for yourself.
This has been your Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin Minute.
Every accomplishment starts somewhere. For University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee student Nick Berschbach, it was internships that led to a job at GE Healthcare. For Charles Kelly, it started with an internship at a TV station. Now, he's a weekend anchor. And for Jaden Anderson, her leadership led to recognition from the American Institute of Architecture students. The path to success goes many places. It starts at UWM.
Ever had a question about local services, neighborhood events, civic engagement, or ways to get more involved in the community and just didn't know who to ask? That's where 1MKE comes in. 1MKE is a nonpartisan coalition helping Milwaukee residents to find trusted information and easy opportunities to get civically engaged. Want to plug into a neighborhood event, find community services, give back through volunteering? 1MKE is here to help. Learn more and get involved at 1mke.org. That is 1mke.org. We are 1MKE.
This Associated Bank Sports Update on 101.7 The Truth is powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Sneide. The Milwaukee Bucks return home tonight to take on the New York Knicks. No Damian Lillard in this one, still ruled out due to the blood clot in his right calf. Bucks president Peter Feigin on the outlook for Damian Lillard.
He's stable, being treated. We do think there's an opportunity for him to come back, and he is, in a better place than he was 4 days ago or 3 days ago when this started.
Tip-off tonight between the Knicks and the Bucks set for 7 p.m. Over to baseball, where the Milwaukee Brewers fell on opening day to the Yankees in New York. This one by a final score of 4-2. Next up is a Saturday afternoon first pitch in the Bronx set for 12:05. And lastly, Alabama, Texas Tech, Florida, and Duke all moving on in the Elite Eight in the NCAA tournament. More games are slated for this evening in the Sweet 16, beginning at 6. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
Be sure to tune in to The Truth tomorrow for More Than a Movement powered by Planned Parenthood. Right here on 101.7 The Truth at 11 a.m., a brand new episode. Carrie Noni will be joined by Sarah Noble of the Be Noble Group, where they will discuss what is on the line coming up on Tuesday for the election. They'll break down everything you need to know, especially when it comes to women's rights and birthing people's rights as well. So make sure you tune into More Than a Movement powered by Planned Parenthood at 11 a.m. tomorrow right here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. And in addition to that, always know that you can make one call, that's all, to Gruber Law offices, and they'll stand up for you. I'm telling y'all this right now. Don't go back and forth with the insurance companies at all. Get with the law firm that's a winning law firm. And what I absolutely love about them is that when I got into a car accident and I called them, they took care of everything, right? And I didn't have to worry about paying a single penny. Like when I was going to my physical therapies, appointments, I was like, okay, do I have to pay anybody? Like, no. Don't worry about all that. Your law firm takes care of all that. You don't pay a single penny until they win your case. See, that is a peace of mind. It's a peace of mind because it's already stressful enough getting in a car accident, but then having to worry about having to pay money out of pocket and do all this and try to go back and forth with the insurance companies. Gruber Law Offices takes care of that, but also they're a winning team that will win your case. They don't get paid a single penny unless they win your case. So get with a winning law firm today by visiting them at gruber-law.com. That is gruber-law.com, or calling them, making that one call, that's all, to 414-276-6666. That's 414-276-6666. Welcome back in to Truth to Power here on the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. I'm your host, Kyle Wallace. You can always watch and stream us live on YouTube. That's 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Now, today, I want to stay positive today, and I stumbled across an article that talked about something called a vocational village, right? And in this vocational village, it talked about prison reform and how we need to reform the prisons. And right now, Tony Evers is looking to update Waupun with a $250 million investment. And with this update to Waupun, which is a prison up there in Waupun, Wisconsin, is he's looking to turn that potentially into a vocational village. And when I think about why it's so important for us to have this conversation about incarceration, right? And I understand when you think about what's happened in our communities, there's some bad people who are in prison, right? Some real messed up individuals who are in prison that have done some disgusting things and have victimized a lot of people. Like, I fully get it. I fully understand, right? But at some point, some of these inmates need to have a second chance, right? Because a lot of these people are eventually going to get out of prison. They're eventually going to need to be contributing individuals in society. And if we aren't supporting them while they're in prison, and we're only allowing them to basically be inside of there and be part of a population where it's dog eat dog, get in line, eat this, do that, being told what to do, how is that actually helping them rehabilitate so they can actually be a positive contributing individual to society? Listen, I got a boy that went to prison. Let me tell you. He was wild before he went in, but he hasn't gone back in. He been out. He good. But there's just a lot of things that he had to go through while he was in prison. Good dude, just made a poor decision. But I know forever he'll be impacted by that time that he spent in prison. and they didn't do anything to really help him be able, when he get out, oh, we're going to help you so you can get a job. No, he's just a smart dude that made a bad decision. And when he got out, he decided, you know what, I'm not trying to go back, so let me go ahead and utilize my degree to go do this. A lot of people don't have the privilege to be able to do that. And when I look at the prison population, specifically here, we already know that black people are over-policed. We already know that we are, incarcerated at a higher rate. But specifically when we're talking about here in Milwaukee, Truth Nation, you got to understand, we make up 7% of the population here in Milwaukee. African Americans do. But somehow we make up 29% of the jail population here in in Wisconsin. But then also, we make up 41% of the prison population. I just want y'all to understand, black people make up 7% of Wisconsin's population, but then make up 41% of the prison population. The math ain't math and it's not adding up. And so when we talk about, truth in sentencing and making people serve their full sentences, and we had a governor that didn't want to, for those who were, granting people clemency and anything like that and allowing people to potentially have earlier parole. When you have things like that, we have to understand that has a negative impact on our communities because that's breaking up families. And again, I'm not sitting here saying if somebody does something wrong, I understand. We mad at the Kia boys. I had Rhea on with me earlier this week, and she mad at the Kia boys talking about lock them little kids up. I understand it. Like, I get it. We're upset. And if somebody does commit a crime, they, ultimately will have to do the time. But at some point, we need to have a conversation about when we are sending black and brown, and I'm talking about black people right now, when we send in black people into these jails and these prisons, we need to be thinking about that eventually these black people are going to get out. And where do you think these black people are going to move to? They're not going to move to Brookfield. They're not going to move to Oconomowoc. They're not about to move to Sussex. They're not about to move to River Hills. They're moving back to Milwaukee more than likely. And so if they're moving back to Milwaukee and they were just incarcerated, they were just institutionalized for 5 to 10 to 15 years, do you think they're going to be able to come out and for sure be contributing societies to the economy? Contributing society members to just overall the community? No, they were institutionalized. And so, again, this ain't for everybody, but what we have to do is we have to start understanding that when we talk about reforming prisons here in Milwaukee, here in Wisconsin, we're talking about helping Milwaukee grow, helping Milwaukee get better. So let me just tell y'all a story about what these vocational villages are. And so basically, what a vocational village is, it's basically a space and a place that allows for inmates to get skilled trades through training programs that aim to provide a positive learning community for prisoners who are serious about completing career and technical education. Now, understand we have, prisoners those who are locked up can do stuff like this. But at a certain point, we have to transform and we have to make sure that this becomes what the expectation is. The expectation ain't talking about, bro, I'm going to go into prison and I'm going to do my bid. I'm going to work out. I'm going to do whatever it is and get out of it. No, it should be, hell, I'm going to be in here. I might as well take this class, get this training in order for me to be successful when I get out. And I love telling positive stories because I feel like positive stories just back up what we need to do. So I just want you to understand, this is an article from WPR, Wisconsin Public Radio. In 2018, Marcos Fernandez found himself leaving prison for a fourth time. In total, he spent more than 13 years in custody of a Michigan Department of Corrections. So this is an individual that over a span of 13 years was in and out of prison. So that means in the span of 13 years, he was in and out of his family's life. For a span of 13 years, he was never able to find any stability. For a span of 13 years, he wasn't able to consistently contribute to our society. So for a span of 13 years, this individual was not living up to his full potential. But see, the last time he left, he was able to have a plan because he went into prison and Michigan had just created something called the Michigan Vocational Village. And inside the Michigan Vocational Village, they had technical skill trade jobs that they actually train inmates on. So for him, he graduated from the Vocational Village with a welding certificate and an employer connection. So the same day he got out, he took his welding test, he passed it, and was working within a matter of days. Welding. Y'all can go look up, Google how much a welder makes. Big money. So he went from being incarcerated to having a job, having a career, right? And he said he finally got to take his future into his own hands, right? And peep this, y'all. Just 7 years after getting that vocational degree, getting that in part of that program while he was incarcerated, he was able to start his own welding company. Imagine that. Imagine here in Milwaukee. Imagine here in Wisconsin. If you got, again, we make up 7% of the population, but we make up 29% of the jail population. We make up 41% of the prison population. Imagine if we were able to have a vocational village where Waupun is at. Everybody know about Waupun. Imagine if we take that 41% of prisoners and we were able to say, you know what? 15%, I'm not even talking about half. If we were able to take 15% of that black prison population here in Wisconsin, and we were able to have them come out of prison with a skill set where they can now have jobs that are making good money. We're talking about $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 jobs. So now they come home and the kids that they've been absent from, the mothers they haven't been there for, the family they've been away from, the society they haven't been able to consistently contribute to, now they're able to contribute to that. And what that does, Truth Nation, is we complain about Milwaukee. We complain about the segregation. We complain about the lack of opportunities. We complain about how bad our community is. But think about if those who struggled in their lives had an opportunity to gain a skill through a vocational village program like this, where that is the emphasis, right? Like that is what it's about. Like, again, I know there's training they can get, but that is the emphasis of this place. That would benefit Milwaukee greatly, because at a certain point, we got to think about those, right? We got to think about those who unfortunately are at the bottom. When I say at the bottom, not people, but have hit rock bottom in their lives. Because in Milwaukee, we understand there are areas of despair. And in those areas of despair, that's where a lot of the prison population comes from. That's the zip code, the area, right? And so if we're able to take people who messed up from those zip codes, those areas that are struggling, they get locked up, but they come out and they're able to do good for their life. They're able to be a role model, be a great story to tell. How could that not benefit Milwaukee? And so I tell this story about us getting a vocational village here in Milwaukee, or excuse me, here in Wisconsin, specifically talking about Waupun. And I talk about this because this is another way that we can uplift our community. And I know we want to be mad at prisoners, which you have every right to be, because they probably victimized or stolen something or did something negative to impact somebody else's lives in a poor way. I get it. But as a black community, when we see the stats and the numbers that 41% of our brothers and sisters is locked up in prisons, 29% locked up in jails here in Wisconsin, how do we not fully support this? How do we not advocate for this? How do we not push for this? 833-212-1017. That's the Truth Talk to text line. I just felt like I needed to take a moment today to talk about prison reform, because I just feel like when I love this Milwaukee community and I love being black. I love everything about what we are. I love how we get imitated so much. I love the fact that when we come together, we make the best out of whatever situation that we are in. I think about, trust me, we got mental health in the black community that we need to address. But I think about those who have so much more than some of us, who are struggling with certain things that we wish we had, that we wish some people in our community had. But again, we make the best of our situation. And so that's why I just really feel like this was an opportunity to talk about this and advocate for this and have you tell somebody about this, because Wisconsin is not that far away from having a big change. Because again, if we're able to impact the city of Milwaukee, if we're able to get every year 100 brothers and sisters from Milwaukee who are locked up come back home and have good paying jobs, are consistent members of the community, that ultimately makes Milwaukee better. No, it can't be done overnight. It may not be fixed for another 10, 15 years. But if we can look ahead 10, 15 years from now, and kids whose fathers and mothers may have been locked up but come home with a skill to support their family, that's a win. That is an absolute win, Truth Nation. And that's why I'm advocating for this. 833-212-1017. Jeff on the Truth Talking text line said, I agree 100% with you, but it would be nice if they could do all that before they got in trouble. I agree. But understand that the prisons have been around for a long time, and the prison population exploded. I want to say it was like the 70s or 80s or something like that, where the prison population just absolutely exploded. Prisons will always be around. America is built in the fabric of America, the DNA of America, for us to just have nasty, sick, disgusting, conniving individuals. It's just who we are. You don't see a lot of this behavior in other countries. We are a sick country. I love it. I love our country. I don't love this, but we are a messed up country. So I would love for us to be more preventative, but understand we have a country that this is what happens. People get over-policed and people get locked up. But it's great to have an opportunity to change your life and be supported when you're in prison. 833-212-1017. White Widow, you're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. What are your thoughts on this conversation?
Thanks for taking my call. Well, one thing has to be penalty reform. There's a lot of people in jail for years, 10 years, because in the day, your second, when you're caught with marijuana, it's a felony. Also, I've done pardons, and no one wants to die a felon. Let's get that straight. During Vietnam, when all the white rich men ran to Canada and everything, Carter did a blanket reprieve of all those white men because they were felons, and they knew life was hard being a felon. Now, we have seen felons who have come out in the community. They're in all aspects of the community. Corporations are accepting them. When it's victimless marijuana crimes, there should be a reprieve, and those people should be let out. Consideration of those penalties now that marijuana is accepted. It's a plant. It's not a drug.
Yep. Also,
Milwaukee County and Tony Evers could do this. I do pardons. Attorneys charge $5,000, and it's sad. We have felons in our community, victimless marijuana charges 20 years ago who were railroaded. I have the cases. Boom, boom, boom. It takes a year and a half. But nevertheless, victimless marijuana felons who are out in our community should have their felonies expunged immediately.
Thank you, White Widow. I appreciate you with that, and you're right. And that's one thing that I appreciate with Tony Evers is the fact that he actually grants pardons. The previous governor, Scott Walker, refused to grant any type of pardons, and Tony Evers is altogether by July 26th of 2024. He had granted pardon to 1,200 people, right? And that allows for people to become whole again. But 833-212-1017. Lastly, before we go to break, Miss Sandra, I got about 1 minute for you. You're on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. How you doing, Miss Sandra?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing great. What are your thoughts today?
Okay, now, I call your show. I call. And my son just died up in Wapon Prison.
I'm so sorry.
And he had been there 22 years. Yeah. I am too, and I'm mad. I'm like a diary of a mad black woman. But I'm just saying, like you said, I had to start reading about it. 41% black, and this was men locked up in prison. So I feel it's a genocide. Because if we don't have our black men to help us fight, what are we going to fight with?
See,
they don't kill their white men like that. They don't do that. And then the biggest crook is the politicians up there in Washington, D.C. Scotty Walker. Watch Trump do everything he could, and he's up there helping them win. Him, Paul Ryan, all of them moved up there to help Trump win. So we always talk about our people, but I'm going to keep it focused on them because they're the biggest crooks. A lot of crime going on with a lot of politicians. I get the Tribune. A lot of crime going on up there with the politicians. I mean, they're stealing money like mad, like they never got a check. And I really, that's why, and plus the private prisons are you can buy stocks from them.
Yes. Miss Sandra, I appreciate you joining and calling in. I really do. And again, I'm sorry for the loss of your son. I know you talked about him many times over the years, as you have been a loyal Truth listener. So I appreciate you always sharing your story. But 833-212-1017. We'll wrap up the show on the other side as I am advocating for us to have vocational villages here in the state of Wisconsin because it can make Milwaukee better. We'll wrap up the conversation coming up next.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Tune into The Truth this Saturday at 11 a.m. for another episode of More Than a Movement, powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin. Me, your girl Noni Juice, will be joined by Sarah Noble. And in this episode, we are going to be discussing the court, the candidates, and the power to protect or destroy lives, because as you all know, it is a very important spring election coming up. So we get into it, and I want y'all to be tapped in. So again, that is More Than a Movement, powered by Planned Parenthood Advocates of Wisconsin, this Saturday at 11 a.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Hi, I'm Dr. Cass Bowers, Executive Director of All in Wisconsin. Did you know that there's an election coming up on April 1st? I encourage you to get out and vote. For democracy to work for all of us, it must include all of us. Vote to protect our rights and freedoms. I also urge you to vote no on the voter ID amendment on the ballot. Safe elections mean that no one is left out of the process, and we don't need more barriers to voting. Make your voices heard. Visit allinwi.org for more information.
Ready to buy your first house, move into your forever home, or simply refinance? At Associated Bank, they've got you. With the right lending plan and guidance, you can achieve your dreams. Your financial goals are closer than you think, and Associated Bank is excited to help you reach them. Learn more at associatedbank.com/lending or ask a banker for details. Subject to credit approval, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
With Donald Trump dismantling the Federal Department of Education, we need to make sure we have someone we trust running Wisconsin public schools. That's Democrat Jill Underly. As state superintendent, Democrat Jill Underly has fought to reduce class sizes, expand career and technical education, and she worked to pass a new literacy law that will help improve young kids' reading abilities. Her opponent is Republican lobbyist Brittany Kinzer. Kinzer is backed by the same MAGA millionaires that put Donald Trump in the White House. And when Republican lobbyist Brittany Kinzer was asked about Donald Trump dismantling the Department of Education, Kinzer said, quote, "It's fine." Well, it's not fine, Brittany. We need someone to lead Wisconsin public schools who will be a champion for our kids and community, not a puppet for Donald Trump and the Republicans. On Election Day, April 1st, vote for Democrat Jill Underly for state superintendent. Paid for by the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, authorized by Underly for WI.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
1, 2, 3, ho!
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I want to thank y'all, as always, for joining me here for the show. Again, I'm here to advocate for vocational villages. That is basically what a vocational village is. It is turning a prison into a place where skilled trades and training programs take place. And not just like you have a little, you can go and take some classes. No, it's an actual place. And that's what Tony Evers is looking to do. He's looking to invest $250 million into Waupun, but also looking to potentially institute a vocational village, which allows for inmates to be able to have more positive outcomes and have a completing their career in technical education. And the reason why it's so important to our community is because we are over-policed. And when you look at the black community here specifically, it's the fact that 41% of the prison population is made up of black men. Can't happen. Cannot happen. Just think if we're able to get those people who are locked up the training in order to continue to be a contributing person to society. So I think it's so important. But thank y'all so much for joining me here today. The Tory Lowe Show is up next. But before I go, make sure you get out and vote. Make sure you get out and utilize your voice to vote. Early voting does end tomorrow in Milwaukee, March 29th. You have until 4:30 tomorrow to get out and vote. Don't let people like Brad Schimmel, who openly supports racist talk. Yes, he openly will not condone the racism that comes from somebody like Charlie Kirk, and said he brings him on stage with him. Make sure that dude does not get anywhere near an elected office, because he does not deserve it. But Truth Nation, make sure y'all get out and vote. March 29th, last day to vote for early voting, or get out to vote on Tuesday, April 1st. That is Election Day. Polls open at 7 a.m. They close at 8 p.m. But this is Truth to Power with Kyle Walsh on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Y'all enjoy the weather today. Y'all have a beautiful weekend. Peace out. I'll see y'all next week.
Start jamming in the morning and get your daily drop of juice.
Juice gets you hydrated and started for your day. And that's what we plan to do from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m.